Hey, let me just settle into this tiny monitor that we have up on the screen here. Clatter some things around, make for some really great audio. That's basically what we're working on right now. Hey, did you miss me? I didn't stream at all last week. Now, I know you didn't, but I appreciate your honesty, and that's what keeps this relationship going. That's you and me, like this. All right. So, I missed you guys for a week. We have a portfolio review to get to. We're going to do that tomorrow. The portfolio is very good, by the way. It's going to be an interesting review because it's a pretty good portfolio. So it's going to be a good one. What else is going on? This book, Cave Carson Has an Interstellar Eye, which is very, very tiny on the screen. I didn't think this through. I did not think this through. You do miss my streams? Aw, you've been training? Whoa, training. That sounds serious. There we go. Wait. What? We're off the rails. Here we go. This is what I wanted. Cave Carson Has an Interstellar Eye. I've been channeling Talking Heads lately because this book is coming out, or just came out on Wednesday. When I was working on Cave Carson, which is beautiful, by the way. Look at how well it green screens into the background, and you can't see anything. You're like, that's what makes it good. I don't know. Look, new position at work, lots to learn. I didn't know if you were training, like you were like, I'm getting swole. I'm getting those abs. I'm training to punch butts. That's what people do when they fight, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I've been listening to like Talking Heads, so like this book came out. John Rivera, who's the writer on it. This is a young animal book, by the way. If you're into Umbrella Academy, you'll probably be into Cave Carson Has a Cybernetic Eye, and Cave Carson Has an Interstellar Eye. What's up, Rico? Gains for days, yeah. This book meant a lot to me. It's like it left a weird hole in my heart when Cave Carson Has a Cybernetic Eye ended. This is like a weird emotional ride because for this book we got to do a lot of stuff that like we don't normally get to do in comics. We basically just like did whatever we want, and everything, there was like nothing that was too weird, nothing that was too excessive. It never had to fit in a box. We were encouraged to experiment. It was like this wonderful thing that doesn't happen a lot, especially within superhero comics. So I really love Cave Carson, in case you can't tell, and I hope that you guys pick this up. I was listening to a lot of Talking Heads at the time, and now that John was tweeting about all the stuff that, you know, Cave Carson's coming out, and Mike's been tweeting pictures of it lately, I've been like in this headspace of Talking Heads, and there's something like so weird and grounded and disturbing and artistic about Talking Heads and Cave Carson. I feel like they just go together, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for being here, Micah. Oh, you're finally aware enough to watch something live on Twitch? That's awesome. You've won the first part of the battle. The next part of the battle is subscribing. Shill over. Okay, I'm not just here to peddle my wares, all right? We are going to talk about a couple other things. Today we're talking about something that was everybody on the internet was talking about for like a couple of days. I feel like it became a meme at some point with like I'm setting up my monitors here. I feel like it became a meme at some point where people were like, "Oh, to how do you break into comics?" And then they were like, "How do you break out of comics?" And then people were talking about like the only way to break into comics is 6 miles a day, 300 push-ups, blah blah blah. Hulk Hogan, welcome to high society. That comic book coloring society. You've ascended. 12 months in a row. Man, it's been a year. That's hot. I was gonna say went by fast. Right, right. So there was like before it turned into like a weird meme of like how to break into comics, just make comics. People were like, I felt like I saw a handful of comic artists get like upset, like they were like, you can't just say that, you like you gotta, there has to be more direction, there has to be, like everybody was like, whatever, that's bad advice, and like it is and it isn't. And then I saw some other comic artists that were like, you saw a comic artist getting upset too. I know, it was going around. And then I saw some other artists that were like, this is the advice that I needed to get started. Like, let's just make comics. So we're going to try to get to the bottom of all of that. We're going to intensely unpack like the question and the answer so that I'm going to best try to help you guys with it and with comics in general. Comic artists are always kind of, I'm never upset. I feel like I'm very rarely upset. All right. So I don't know if you guys remember this. Let's talk about what we're working on today real quick. I don't know if you guys remember this. We did this stream about a year ago. This is like past February, so almost a year ago. This is Tim Seeley, and this is Hack Slash. It was suggested by one of our viewers. It's a little bit racy, a little bit sexual, if you will. There's a little bit of fear eroticism going on. And yes, I'm comfortable with both those words together. I'll probably repeat them many times. It's going to be great. This is going to be an A+ stream. Spicy. Yeah. So when we worked on this, G Taicho, Kate in the chat was like, hey, equal representation. If we're doing this sexy lady, Micah, you did subscribe. Welcome to High Society. If we're gonna work on this, we're gonna work on sexy lady with high no bra, high legs. How do you sexualize I'm at a loss. I'm a red-blooded American male. She was like, well, if we're going to do this, we need to do equal time across the board. And I said, okay. And I'm like, I'm going to hunt. I'm going to keep my eyes open for that hot man flesh. And then Erica, who works on Squirrel Girl, and or she's left Squirrel Girl now, but she did a huge run of it with Rico coloring it. Rico did a great job. Gave us this, and let's be frank, this is that man meat. This is that man meat that you requested, Kate. So here you go. I flatted this off camera. I hope that's okay. We're gonna try to get into it. Erica did say boners. Yep, Rico. Yep. Look, like, when I started this stream, I was like, we're gonna create a respectful environment. We're gonna create comics very, very seriously. We're gonna be diligent about things. And in the Thanksgiving cornucopia of this stream, did I ever suspect that we were just gonna lube it up and chuck as many fear boners in as possible? I never did suspect it, but I always kind of wanted it. But you guys made it happen. Oh man, already worth the subscribe. It's all about that tiger meat. Man meat emoji, please. Oh my god. You guys are thirsty. This chat is rowdy and thirsty. So, Erica, here's the pencils. pencils, inks. So Erica said that her pen had died as she was working on the last of it here. So we're going to try to embrace that, kind of like fear boner. Oh my god. This stream is a can of worms, let me tell you. Chat is rowdy. We're going to try to paint the light source so that the legs don't really matter, kind of. Like, we're going to kind of drown them in sunlight and kind of have Kraven leaning back into the darkness kind of thing, where it's kind of like he's a mysterious, sultry man. That's the goal. It's kind of like what we did with Oming's sketch that we kind of like digital painted over. I think that one, by the way, got away from me just a tad. So we're gonna try not to let this one get away from me. We're gonna try to not digital paint. We're gonna try to just like straight up color it. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. Oh my god, don't look at me sweat. Yeah. Lube it up needs to be an emote. I started this. You're right. I did start this. Oh my god. I can't. The thing about starting something like this is that you can't end it. Like, it is now perpetually out there. All right. So if we're going to put like light here and darkness back here, we have to kind of figure this out. First of all, we can close the hack slash. All right, I guess let's just jump in. Try to put down some shadows, put down some light sources. There's so much crotch to polish. There is indeed. It sure is something. Where's my glove? If we're gonna get in there, we're gonna have to wear gloves. Oh god, this stream. Oh, this stream. Anyway, so artists were talking about like what it takes to break into comics, and some people were kind of pissed about it. Oh, I wasn't gonna put the line here, but maybe this is kind of good. Get like the tiger paw in here because it's not really inked, so we got to keep that in mind. I'm just kind of cutting out the light source, by the way, and we're going to try to figure it out once we get kind of a general feel for where we're going with this. So yeah, let's talk about like how do I break into comics is a loaded question first, before we get into how just make comics is a loaded answer. When people ask, how do I break into comics? There's a lot of different goals that people can have within the comic book industry. It depends on like what kind of comics you want to make. A lot of, if you just want to like what we're doing with Curse of the Iron Chef is that like on the side to my regular day job, I'm going to make a little comic that I can like staple together, fold in half, send to comic book stores even if they don't want them, and see where the chips fall. You know, like I'm happy just like making something. The goal there is just to make something. But a lot of times when people say, how do I break into comics? What they mean to say is, I want to write Batman right now. And I haven't put in any work yet. And when that happens, the answer is, well, you got to put work in, you know? Nobody starts at Batman, and nobody starts in comics with a career ready to, like, you don't, there's like a huge grayscale of comics as a career, where people have various degrees of success. You did, Rico? You son of a bitch. Where people have like various degrees of success, where people talk about like, you know, like the first 4 years I was making comics, I was like barely making ends meet, and I was sacrificing a lot. Like I gotta figure out these. I gotta figure out these shadows. This is tough to talk about because it's like a serious thing that I want to give you guys like really good advice on, but I also am a little distracted by the light source. So like, if you just want to make comics, if you just love comics and you just want to make them, there's nothing holding you back. Like, chances are you're making them already in that instance. But how do you make a living is like a whole other beast. And a lot of times I saw a couple of people talk about how Ibrahim was talking about how he has a friend who is like, how do I break into comics? How do I break into comics? I'm already making comics. I can't seem to make a living in comics. And this might part of the frustration is that with the internet, you can Google so much information before asking anyone a vague, open-ended question like that. Sure. 3D thinking takes all your brain. It's so hard. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to like juggle and make cohesive thoughts. So like Ibrahim's friend, he was saying that like his friend makes comics. His friend is talented. But he doesn't have a career in comics. He makes, in the last 5 to 6 years, he's made about 40 pages. Now, if you want a career in comics, you have to, when something's like not working, you have to devote the time that it takes to be able to grow and change and get better at something. We're going to be making Curse of the Iron Chef. So I actually structured out the year. We're going to do a little 4-pager first. This is a goal for next year. I actually structured out the years for Johnny, I just got it. I just got your comment. Some have to create album art for local bands. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. I haven't talked to you in a long, long time, but I'm with you. So that like wiped it. That blast from the past just like wiped my mind. I made some album art way back in the day for Johnny Bag of Donuts band way back in the day. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, so this person is like, okay, I've done 40 pages. I have a portfolio. I've picked the best 10 in 6 years. And I can't get the thing off the ground. Like, how do I break into comics? And the answer is that, like, that person isn't necessarily working enough to have noticeable growth and change and, like, a career in comics. Like, to a certain extent, you have to be able to just, like, stop what you're doing and work on comics full time. Like, taking that plunge is very, very difficult because it's risky. And I think what people are saying is, like, how do I make money in comics? How do I make that a sure thing? Is like, how do I make, making money in comics a sure thing so that I can fulfill all my responsibilities that I currently have? This is where I'm thinking the light is, by the way. Let's brighten up this side here. All right. That's reading. This is reading pretty well. Let's heat it up just a little. We can. Yeah, so, like, the truth of the matter is that you need to, like, invest the time into the pages in order to have growth And then you have to be able to get those pages in front of other people in order to get hired. And if you're peddling similar things year after year after year, and it's not really working that well, like, chances are that, like, something is broken. Something, like, is fundamentally not working, that you're not seeing. And you need to put more time in. And that's just, like, the reality of it. Like, you don't know what you don't know yet. You need to make comics first and foremost. But you also have to make friends and be around and not be an asshole. I mean, yeah, we're going to get into that in a second. So, like, if the work isn't getting you work, then you need to do more work. Which, make comics. Like, there's the answer. I gotta figure this out. What are we doing? How do we even... Let's figure out the art first so that I could start to wax intellectual about comics. There's something very Burt Reynolds about this whole pinup. Yeah, a little bit. I kind of want to, like, just warm up everything. 2 words, tiger meat. So, like, that person that people were talking about on Twitter is probably a lot of you, because, like, you're probably out there working a regular job, you have kids or whatever your situation is. Everybody has extra shit going on. Like, not directly related to comics, but at our studio we've begun to use the term make it till you make it. Yeah, exactly. And, like, you almost have to, like, just start doing full-time comics in order to just do full-time comics. Because, like, that guy that's making 40 pages every 6 years, which is about, like, 8 pages a year, is not necessarily going to... It's hard for me as a publisher to trust him that he's going to do a good job, that he even has the time to do a good job. Like, if he has a new 8-page portfolio every year and that's it, and, like, I never see any growth, like, I'm probably not going to hire that guy. So he needs to carve out the time to, like, you know, make comics. And, you know, Ibrahim, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, because he's a very talented artist, and I don't think I've ever said his name out loud. He was saying that, you know, this person also, like, sees every movie and, like, you know, plays every video game. And it's like, well, it's tough to, but, like, he was, like, saying that, you know, he does all this stuff, but he doesn't have any time to learn Photoshop. And it's like, you do, buddy. You do. Like, you just gotta, it's not the fun part. It's not the sexy part of comics to learn Photoshop. Like, this kind of person, this kind of attitude is like someone who's like, okay, I've met the minimum requirement. Where is my career? How does it fall in my lap? And, like, the answer is it just doesn't. Like, you gotta hustle, because, like, I'm out there hustling. So, like, I'm getting jobs. I'm getting work. And it's not because I've been working in the industry. I started getting work early on because I was, like, sacrificing. Like, we've talked about on stream before about how, like, I was basically broke all the time. I have so many lights on that I'm getting such a crazy glare on this tablet that it's hard for me to actually see what we're working with here. But we're gonna try to make this work. We're gonna try to make this work. Everyone, I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know. We might get to the end of this, and then, like, I actually, like, see it online, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta go back and rework some things. We'll see. It's crotch glare. It's coming from inside the artwork. Yeah. So you got to make comics, and here we're gonna do Excuse me. Real quick. You remember my broke days? Oh, my broke days were rough. Yeah, I spent basically 4 years broke as hell. Maybe even 5. Broke as hell. I wasn't able to go out on dates because I had no money. I was really not doing a whole lot of things socially. I wasn't seeing any movies. I wasn't buying any video games. I was basically just like grinding out comics. I made all the necessary sacrifices to do so. But I was also like fresh out of college. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have kids. I was able to make these sacrifices. And what I'm saying is if you're not able to make those sacrifices, not that you can't make comics, but that like things are going to be a little tougher. And you just have to like realize that is the reality of making comics, is that like comics take a long time to make, and like you have to carve out that time. And if you're not consistently carving out that time, if you're making 8 pages a year, you're not actually getting better. It's like, I always talk about like art abs on the stream lately. For some reason, I've started to do that. I'm never going to get abs by like doing crunches 8 times a year. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, it's just not possible. I've worked out 8 times a year. Why aren't my abs here yet? It's like, you gotta work out more. You gotta draw more. Let's, hold on. Oh, here's what I was going to do, by the way. We're warming this up. So I wanted to go back to my flats. And here's a quick way to do it. Since we're only working on one layer right now, which I watched a K. Michael Russell video the other day, and he threw some shade at people who work on one layer. Not cool, man. I see you. We're going to copy this, and we're just going to, like, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, and then just paste it in. Because I worked right over the flats, and so we got the flats back. Oh, snap. Colors beef. Would you suggest starting a webcomic as a way to get your name out there? You have an idea for one? You want to get started semi-soon? You're here for the drama. I would suggest, this is what I would suggest. Anything that makes you, it's not real trauma, guys. Anything that makes you making pages and making work on a regular basis is going to be, like, basically, when I say make comics, I mean, make as many fucking comics as you can. Like, cut the stuff that needs to get cut out of your life. Like, take your kids, palm their face, and just push them down, because you're making comics now. Don't really do that. Webcomics are easy to make. You can post anywhere. Competition's insane, but you can learn a lot doing it. Yeah. Jason Latour started making comics when he made a comic strip called 4 Seats Left when he was like first started trying to figure out how to make comics back in the day. I really liked that strip, and that's how I found his work. I mean, now he's doing voiceovers for Kill Your Parents, Eat Your Kids, Make Comics. Exactly. You heard it here first. That's what you have to do. You have to. Let's talk about light sources real quick before we continue to talk about comics. So we have Kraven here, and he's like a sweaty man ball of meat. What I want to do is like kind of do like a blue light source back here. This kind of like bounced reflected light. Is that why I bought a hot dog toaster? Quit wasting your time cooking so you can make comics. I mean, no, but that is a bonus, and you get all the hot dogs you want at any time. So we're gonna try to do like a blue light back here, and kind of paint in these abs. We're kind of going hard in here. Let's try something. Like I wanna kind of warm it up, but then like put like a core light in here. You're gonna add hot dog toaster to your Christmas wish list right now? Not a bad purchase. I will say it is a pain in the ass to clean, FYI. So I kind of want to like do like a cold light source back here. I don't know if this is gonna stay or go or what, but we're just gonna like experiment with a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I mean, if making webcomics is a way for you to like, webcomics are good because like you put yourself on a schedule and you hold yourself accountable and you upload every whenever you set up your situation. He kind of looks like he's in kind of like a white face makeup, which is not where I want to be. This guy is fighting with me. Kraven, I thought you were going to be easy. I thought you were going to be easy peasy. I think it's because I'm half distracted because I'm thinking about how absurd it is that like this whole unpacking. So like the thing is like you could also, when people come to like comics professionals and they're like, how do I break into comics? There's also this other kind of school of thought of like, you might not like want to break into comics. This is like a weird thing to say. This is a weird thing to say, but there's like I'm making I tried to figure out like how much time I have for everything next year. How many pages I could get done. I have a 12-pager and a 4-pager. If I pencil one week and ink the next, and then I allot some days for Photoshop, and I only work like one day on the weekends, I can get about that much work done. I have like a little bit of wiggle room for like when I'm tired or whatever, and I don't want to necessarily work. So like I'm looking at maybe squeezing in about, what is that, 16 pages of comics for the year. Like that's me hustling on the side. And like I don't know that I'm going to get better. I don't know. Like I'm going to try to figure it out myself. But like I know that like my end goal is not to be like I'm going to draw Batman, you know? So I think that it's important to think about what your end goal, what you want your end goal to be. Comics has multiple discipline as a rough word, multiple disciplines. So when you make comics, does that mean you do everything or the thing? No, do what you want to do. Like this is the thing is like, you got to have a goal in mind. Like if you don't have a goal in mind and you're just like, I just want to make comics, and you're just like, I'm going to do everything. You're going to be all over the place. Shit, man, this Kraven, I feel like I can't get a good, I got to think for a second. I feel like I'm not getting a good bounce light color going on here. That maybe he needs to be like warmed up or something. Or maybe like we put a little sauce on it. Something like that. I don't know. A little bounce light. Let's figure this out. Let's quit the bullshit and figure this out. That might be why people didn't like the make comics advice, because knowing where to start can be complicated to someone super new. There's so many parts to learn. Yeah. So like when I started making comics, when I like set out to be a professional, I said to myself, like, realistically, I was like, it's going to take me a lot of work to learn like good anatomy, good perspective. Like I already kind of know these things. But But to get to the level of like where I'm competing with someone like Mike Hawthorne, or like who's another really really decent draftsman, Stuart Immonen, like to get to the point where like I'm competing with them, like is going to take me maybe more work than I'm willing to put in. And maybe my strengths aren't really there, but like my palette is good, although you can't tell from this because I'm like all over the freaking map right now. Clearly Thirst Kraven was too thirsty to get this working right. Man, I don't know. I feel like it's almost there. It's almost there. So I was like, well, where are my strengths? I want to work in comics. Where are my strengths? How do I make comics? And I was like, well, I'm a decent colorist. Like, maybe I should be doing that. And so I started like leaning into that as a way to kind of like break into comics. I'm messing with a bunch of stuff now because we're a little bit all over the map. Okay, here's what I think I figured out what's throwing me off. So, Kraven. First of all, I'm getting like serious glare. I'm thinking about turning off one of these lights. I don't know if the green screen's going to suffer. I'm going to move one of the lights. Hold on. Are we still green screened? I think we are. Okay, this is better. Betterer. Okay. All right. Yeah, so I was like, my palette is better than my fine art. The road is a lot longer to get to break into comics with like regular like anatomy and as a penciler. So I was like, oh, I'll do this until I figure out like what I want to do. And now that I've broken into comics as a colorist, I'm like, oh, I see like what people go through to like work on Batman. And I'm like, I don't want any part of that. Like, this isn't like, I want to make a comic about a frogman selling weed to teenagers outside of Home Depot in Ohio. Like, and like, I don't know, color in the shadows that, the color this in the shadows. That won't be creepy. Yeah. I'm here in the shadows working on Kraven. So thirsty. Yeah, so like if you want to break into comics, quote unquote, and you want to color Batman, I feel like you have to dedicate, or you want to work on Batman, you have to dedicate yourself to the craft. You got to be drawing, if not every day, like every day that you possibly can. Because, Sean Murphy's doing that. Because everybody else is doing that. Like, I realized that, like, I'm only able to do penciled inked, like, what was it, 16 pages in the year? Like, maybe. With Comic Cons and, like, everything else. And, like, I know full well, you'd rather just see that Frogman book, to be honest. Yeah. You're my people. Hulk Hoquin. Like, I know that, like, if I want to get better at comics, there's going to be a breaking point, or get better at art, there's going to be a breaking point where I have to make sacrifices in color less books for less real tangible money in order to get better at the art side. Because I don't think doing 16 pages a year is going to get me, your name is also Erica. I don't know if 16 pages a year is going to get me there, to like where I'm happy. Oh my God, look at this. This is a mess. What is happening? Should we just start over? Like, oh man. Oh man. Wait, did I just fix it? Shit. Nobody touch it. Nobody do anything. Don't breathe on it. Dude, no one cares about the face. Wow. Just run to the nips more. Wow, you guys. Whew. Yeah, so before you ask, like, how do I break into comics, I think it's important to think about, like, what do you want to do in comics? Like, because if you are like me and you just want to, like, make a mini about a frogman that sells weed to teenagers in Ohio, in an Ohio Lowe's parking lot, then, like, maybe you don't need to worry about, like, you know, maybe you don't need to worry about like what it takes to write Batman. To be honest, you feel like people were upset by the make comics thing because they misunderstood. When you saw the make comics tweet, you understood it as you have to make comics to make comics. It's not just going to come easily, and I think people don't really see it that way. Yeah, like the other thing is like nobody's going to just give you a career. If you want a career, you gotta hustle. Like, I know that like Mitch was saying that like he needed somebody to be like, hey, like your good idea that you have not executed on means literally nothing, and that if you want to show me that you are capable of making comics like you think you are, you have to execute on some comics in order to prove it. Like, when people are like, how do I break into comics? And the answer is make comics. That's like saying, how do I write Batman? It's like, you prove that you, like, without, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you can write Batman, you know? And like, here's the other thing. There's no like quick and easy route. Making comics is fucking hard. Where you need to produce every day. Yeah. Maybe not every day, but yes. Making comics is fucking hard, and it's time consuming is the other thing. And so like I feel like people who are like, this thing is like off the rails, by the way. I feel like the people who are like, I want to make comics. How do I make comics? Or how do I break into comics? Also, like, the subtext to some of those questions are like, how do I break into comics without having to do all this work? And there is no breaking into comics without work. Oh! How's it going, Dave? Dave, right? I think it's Dave. Comics is a medium where I have to produce it. Yeah. In this household, it's every day. Yeah. I hope Erica thinks that I'm doing Kraven right, but I feel like I'm in the weeds a little bit. I have an idea of where I want this to go, but man, I'm working in RGB too, and I don't know if it's necessarily moving in the direction. She doesn't have Twitch. Yeah. It's understandable. I don't know if it's necessarily moving in the direction that I want. We'll see. She says good dick shot. We haven't even gotten to the dick. We're going to get there. It's going to be the focus. I'm just trying to figure out all the extra stuff first. We got to have our vegetables before we have our meat. I mean, what? I mean, our dessert. I mean, what? I mean, our dick. This is a mature stream for mature comic artists, by the way. This stream. I'm still trying to figure this out. You have no jokes. Thank you for the pity laughter. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that, you know, a lot of people who ask how to break into comics, A, don't actually want to break into comics, but they don't understand that yet. Or B, are looking for a, like, quick fix to break into comics, and, like, there is no quick fix. Or C, they need to be told the first step is making comic books. So, oh no. Erica, please. We haven't figured this out yet. This is a work in progress, Erica. You need to keep that in mind. Oh. We're gonna get there. I'm just trying to man meat. Erica has been coloring herself lately, by the way. You've never have other Ericas around you? Keep getting whiplash? Oh no. Erica, please. Erica's in the chat. Tell her that her comics are amazing, and thank her for letting us work on some Kraven man flesh. Yeah, so I just feel like, I don't know, when people are talking about, like, how do I break into comics, it's such, like, a loaded question. I think that if you are happy with your job, happy with your life, happy with your income, and you're like, hey, maybe comics, I don't know, I would say the best thing for you to do to quote unquote break into comics is to, like, make some minis, make some zines. If you have time, this is the other thing, is that, like, comics are an exhausting process, and they are at a crazy pace, especially mainstream comics. If you want to break into mainstream comics and you're like, oh yeah, I want to work on Batman, and you've never, like, just, if you can, try to take a month off and see if you can pencil 22 pages and see how those pages turn out. And then, like, decide if you want that to be the rest of your life. Like, seriously. This what we do in comics is, like, is brutal. Like, you have to love this. And there's loving it in theory, and then there's loving it in, like, a practical, day-to-day, this is now your life kind of way. And you're not gonna be able to figure that stuff out with making 8 pages a year. Like, I know in my heart of hearts that, like, I don't want to, like, coloring is one thing. I don't want to break into comics. When it comes to, like, everything else, you think that most people want to break into comics saw Walking Dead and thought their zombie story was better, kind of joking. Yeah. This is the other, okay, this is something you absolutely cannot do, is like sit here and be like, my stuff's definitely better than XYZ stuff. Like, I don't know if this shadow works, by the way. I don't think it does. We're just going to get rid of it. My stuff's better than XYZ's stuff. Like, I should be making comics. Like, if you do that, you will drive yourself crazy. Because the practicality sacrifice of it is huge. There's the biggest hurdle for many people. Yeah, I mostly love it for fun. I don't know if I want to make a career. Yeah, so like this is the other thing is like not wanting to make a career out of it is fine. Like if you just want to like love comic books and like tinker on some stuff on the side, like that's where my mindset is at right now, and that's fine. Like you don't have to like go full force make a career. Like that is not a measure of success. You know, figure out what your measure of success is for comic books. Figure out what you want to do within comics and then execute on that. If your measure for success is like, I got to draw Batman, then like absolutely do everything you can to draw Batman. My advice to you is to like take a month off and see if you can pencil an issue. Like I'm sure there are scripts floating around out there. I'm sure you could try to work on some Batman. You're lucky enough to have a fulfilling career. Regulated for fun. Yeah, man. You know, the thing is like when you get into like some careers where people are like not happy, you know, they're kind of miserable in like what they're doing and they see comics as like this way out to be happy. You know, a few people who went through 4 years of art school and then decide, hey, I'm a lot happier with a desk job and doing art after. Yeah. And there is zero shame in that. Like, oh man, like this life is not for everybody. There's been a lot of times that I've been like, I don't know, like I worked very, very hard to like break into comics. And then once I got here, I was kind of like, this is it. And I was like, man, desk job is looking real fucking good right now. But if you are one of those people who thinks, you know, maybe like comics is your out, maybe you should quit your job and like, you're amazed most of us keep partners, spouses. Yeah. One of the things that I've done in the last, and then maybe this is just because, you know, I'm a colorist and I can work a lot faster than pencilers and inkers, is that I've tried to be like, okay, 9 to 5, that's it. And then also I've tried to be like, I'm not going to work on the weekends, you know? And I think that's the only thing that has kept like relationships in my life together and like me on a normal track with like as a normal individual. Cause you know, people talk about like the toll that it takes on your relationships and your life. And it's a real thing. It's a real thing. God, yeah, I can't do that anymore. Dude, there was some Nightwing stuff that I was working late and then woke up early. And it was the first time I'd done that in years. And I was like, oh God, this is why I don't do this. This is a goddamn shit show. Not only that, but like, I don't know. I always feel like my work is worse when I'm like overly exhausted like that. If you're trying to get into comics for a career, make sure to have a really solid, realistic backup plan. Yeah, like being a professional live streamer. Right. Yeah, I just feel like it's a tough gig. And I don't think it gets it like people look at it as like a parachute, a line out of their life, and it might not be that. It might be. You might be that person. But this is the thing. If you are confident that like if you hate your job, first of all, if you hate your job and you are confident that you like can make this work professionally, if you're like, I don't know you, I don't know your skills, I don't know, you know, like I don't know you. But if you are confident to give it a go and you have the ability and you've taken a month off, and you've like made some comics after taking that month off, and you're like, hey, I loved this. I keep thinking about that month I took off where I just like drew Batman all day. And you've getting responses from your portfolio. You got to go to shows. Take that month off, put that Batman issue in the can, see how you feel. If you like that, if you want that to be your life, take those pages, start showing them around to people. See if you can scrounge up some work. A lot of this business is incredibly social. I feel like you wouldn't think so. It used to be that like you could just quietly make your weird comic and then like quietly put it out there and the work would speak for itself. But a lot of times now it doesn't really work that way. It's like weirdly social. So like, you know, scrounge up some gigs and see how you feel. 'Cause let me tell you, if you get hired for something, and this is something that a buddy of mine's has been going through for the last couple of years, is that he's kind of on this threshold. So he owns a business and he's doing comics on the side, but he really wants to do comics full time. And he's running into the problem of, he can't like commit to larger projects because he's doing it part time. And he's getting frustrated with like he wants to put more time into the pages that he just doesn't have, you know. He also has like a family and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's like at some point you have to make a break. At some point you have to go for it. If you want to go for it, you can sit in that space where you like, you know, come home and just like work on your book and you make, you know, your weed dealing frogman book that you've been dreaming about. By the way, I think I cracked Curse of the Iron Chef Part 2, or at least I have like a nugget of an idea. I haven't cracked it. Okay, let's render these nips. Because we know why you're here. If you're trying to, I'm going to catch up on chat real quick. If you're trying to get into comics for a career, make sure you have a really, yeah. I'm going to draw Batman on the weekdays and be a pro Fortnite player on the weekends. Good Lord. Burn it down. Just live off your monster drink special. Yeah. Also something tough to grasp when pursuing a creative career. Unless you're ridiculously good at what you do, you need a broad skill set. Yeah. So, one of the things that like school didn't teach me, art school, is that like I'm running a business. Like art school did not prepare me for any of this shit. Like where I had to figure out like, you know, invoicing, contracts, accounting, like a lot of, I remember I worked on some Hellboy stuff, or not Hellboy, BPRD stuff. And I remember talking to Mike Mignola, and this is like a fucking serious name drop. So everybody, you know, shower me with the accolades that are required for something like this. So Mike Mignola was like, you know, it's a good day when I get to like sit down at the desk and like actually draw, because a lot of times I'm just answering emails all day. Are we talking the Frogman like anthropomorphic or like a Navy guy in a wetsuit? No, anthropomorphic. We're talking about, look, what we're talking about, if you want to get serious with it, is specifically the Loveland Frogman, the cryptid. I saw that guy and I was like, there's a rich vein here. This idiot, we can make some comics about this idiot. Yeah, having to act as an entrepreneur is a huge bummer. Yeah, you're telling me. I actually just recently, I I've been more active on Instagram, which, by the way, follow me right up there, Nick_Filardi. I've been more active on Instagram as a way of like self-promoting, and yo, it's tough to keep up with this shit. Like, I'm a one-man band, and like this shit's hard. Like, all the extra shit is difficult to find time for that. I don't know. You would think it wouldn't be, but it's like, okay, I got to track down the image that I want to like put forward. Then I got to figure out who worked on it so I can credit them. So then I got to post it up. Then I got to like follow up with comments. It's like, it's real deal. Get in the Discord for the real Frogman talk. Yeah. Yeah, we talk about Frogman. We're gonna make a cryptid corner a regular thing on the stream in the new year. I'm like not thrilled with the face. I feel like I'm goofing it up somehow. I think maybe it's the forehead. Maybe it's just less is more. Maybe less is more. I also feel like maybe it's not warm enough. Maybe that's madness, though. I don't know. Let's figure it out. Being a freelancer, negotiating for yourself while being at least semi in the dark about the industry norms. Yeah, is really, yeah. So I did a little bit of work for Valve, and I was like, oh, video game people, huh? I was like, I can actually charge like a nice amount. They have a lot of money. I was like, this will be nice. And I quoted them a price. You love this Frogman? Yeah. Oh yeah, it won't let you link. That's to prevent spammers. Dave, you're on notice. Yeah, all the Frogman pictures are great. We did like a little Frogman thing on the stream where I did like a breaking news, the Frogman is real. This stream, Dave, I don't know if you've ever caught this stream before, but like, it's a goddamn mess. It doesn't know if it's breaking cryptoid news or if it's comic books. God. Let's figure out the weird thing. Let me link my Frogman romance fanfic. It has a rustic charm. Yeah. As any computer-based stream can, it has a rustic charm. Let's put a little highlight in here so he's not like totally in the dark in the main. I kind of want to like give him like a backlight a little bit. I don't know if this is a thing. I don't know if this is the thing. We're gonna try it. You forgot about the cryptid? Yeah, we're gonna do more cryptid breaking news. I'm gonna tell you guys, look, here's one of the things that's true about being on the inside with comics is you get all these kind of like, every once in a while you get like a weird, you might get on an email that's like a Warner Brothers email that you weren't supposed to be on because you have like a similar, finish the story about Valve. Yeah, I will. You have like a similar name with somebody else in like the DC offices or whatever. And so you get on like a Warner Brothers email that's like, you know, hey, here's a list of all the cryptoids that are real, and here's all the ones that are fake. We, Warner Brothers, grow them in a lab. Here's the real deal. And like, you know, it's tough to sit on that information. I want to share it with you. And so my goal in the New Year's is to tell you which cryptids are real and which cryptids are fake. And more importantly, which cryptids fuck. You're going to find that out. You're going to find out which cryptids are thirsty. And you're going to find out which cryptids just mind their own business and never get on Twitter. You Yeah, so I did some Valve work, and uh, I started working for them, and they were like, "Okay, we've never made comics before. Like, what's your page rate?" And I was a freelancer, and I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "They're quoting me on my page rate," and I've been told like always punch up. Like when you don't know, we don't know like what your rate is, add 20% to what your normal rate is, and see what they say. That's what I've been told. I have no idea if that's good advice, by the way. You need to know about the Mothman and if he's single. God, this stream. So remember when I was going to give good advice about comics, and then it devolved into like which cryptids fuck? Remember that? So I quoted my price, and it was maybe like $10 or $20 more than like my top price at the time for comics. And Valve came back and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it." And it was like more money than I think it was the most money I've ever made doing comics. And they came back and they were like, this was easy. Like this, like the quote that I gave them was like nothing to them. And I was like, fuck, I could have asked for more. And this is the stress of like being a freelancer, is like, you just, with these things, like you just don't know. I don't know if the backlight's working. That's not working. I mean, maybe we should just, instead of trying to make it hot, 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 the backlight is pulling focus from the dick. Yeah. I think that we're on the same page. Yeah. Yeah, it's pulling the focus up to his face, which I don't know if that's necessarily what we want. We want to push everyone down is the thing. Down into the crotch. This has probably been the best stream you've ever... Don't say that. That's not... Those aren't real feelings. those are fake feelings. Those are... You've been betrayed. You've been betrayed by your sexual organs. Let's do a thing. Also, you've never seen anyone else color, and you're so glad that I'm sitting here scrolling through colors till you know how it works. Yeah. Till I know it works. Yeah, because that's how you roll too. Yeah. I mean, like, sometimes you just gotta figure it out. We gotta get rid of this backlight because it's terrible. It's not where we want to be. Come on. There we go. So when people say, how do I break into comics? This is it. I can tell you all the secret right now. Here is exactly how you break into comics. First of all, you have to make comics. And when I say that, I don't mean to be like stubborn or a jerk or whatever. Like, you need to be able to have the capacity to do pencil 20 pages every day, every month. If you're not able to pencil 20 pages every month, you are not able to break into comics and have a career in comics. If you don't know if you're able, you should figure it out and then figure out comics from there. I kind of want it like a weird kind of purple. There's like a royalness to like purple that I feel like this piece needs. Yeah, I think we're getting there. The other thing is, if you quietly do 20 pages, hey Joel, if you quietly do 20 pages and you never show them to anyone, you're not going to make a career in comics. Like, first you figure out if you even want a career in comics. You make the pages. From there you decide, oh, I either like this or I didn't like this. And then you figure out, okay, how do I get this work in front of people? And then while you are sitting there, like, continuing to make more comics, like you're continuing to make comics. You've never stopped doing basically as many comics as you can per day, which is what people say when make comics. You also start going to some, go to some Comic Cons, talk to some artists, figure out who your peers are, see what they're doing. Once you start doing that, then like the work starts happening. Which is over in like 5 minutes. Well, I'm glad you're here for 5 minutes, Joel. So that is how you break into comics. And the way to get eyeballs on your work is to be ruthlessly self-promoting on Twitter and Instagram. Not in a way where you're obnoxious, but in a way where you're like, hey, here's what I'm working on. Hey, this is the thing that I did today. Hey, you're posting regularly. And then you take that and then you bring it to shows and then you show people what you're working on. It's not like, you don't have to be like, hey, I'm a badass, look at my shit, but just be like, hey, I have a comic portfolio. Can you give me some pointers? Give me an opinion? And then people will either be like yes or no, and you got to respect that. And then, they'll look at your work and they'll give you stuff to improve on if they think you should improve. And if they want your business card, they'll ask for your business card. If they think they have something for you, that's how you get started. The thing is that, like, what I've just described is a monumental amount of work. Social media has to be part of it. Yes. What I just described is a monumental amount of work. It is. We're going to work on this tiger, by the way. Let's figure out this goddamn tiger. I say as I work on something else. So what I've just described is a ton of work, and a lot of people don't want to do that work. That work is very hard. You know what else is really difficult that is probably going to happen to you if you're trying to break into comics? You're going to do all this work. You're going to go to a show and you're not going to get the reaction you want. Like, that's a reality of comics as well. Like, that will happen. A lot of people, the people who stick around for years and years and years, despite all this stuff, are the people who stay in comics, are the people who have careers in comics. Like, this stuff is like real tough. Not only in like I have to figure out like how to get my comic books like seen by everyone, but like also just like emotionally, it is a hard thing to do to be like, hey, I spent 2 years making this. I spent 2 years making a 40-page comic book. I'm putting it on the table. I put blood, sweat, and tears in it. And now I'm going to set up on a rickety card table in a convention center that I'm paying for to be here so that somebody can pass by the table and be like, and then move on without making eye contact with me. Like, this is the insanity that you have to go through in order to like get momentum within comic books. And this is why a lot of people start and then quit, or start and then be like, there's got to be a better way. And there's like, there isn't really, you know. The first con where you actually make money is golden. I will let you know how that feels when I get there. I basically like colorists don't make money at shows unless they're Matt Wilson. Matt has somehow cracked it. The only shows that I ever get close to making money on are local shows, because I don't have to pay for plane and stuff. Just joining in there, and hello there, Kraven. Yeah, letting it all hang out. I'm kind of feeling like we gotta take less. We gotta pull back on the face just a little bit, because we're yeah, if I like, first of all, colorists don't really get comped tables. Usually, very rarely do I get comped a table, and then I never get travel. So, and I never get a hotel, basically. So like, my cost of doing business, like when, I'm doing Emerald City Comic Con coming up, and for the privilege of having someone come by the table and be like, so you color? For the privilege of that, it's going to cost me like a $600 plane ticket, am I doing minicon? No, I'm not. You're the second or third person to ask me. I just couldn't get it together this year. I'm like too unfocused. I'm gonna try to hit it next year, but I'll be doing Heroes. When I put together my mini comic that I've been working on, not about the Frogman, but about something else, I was going to inundate Heroes, the shop, with a bunch of. I was just gonna send them a bunch, and they can just like put it in people's boxes who they think are gonna want it. You tried getting a table and you were rejected. Really? That's shocking to me. You'll be at Heroes? Sweet. See you there. But yeah, so like, the table costs like $300. The plane ticket costs $600. The hotel is going to be like another $600. And then I'm at the table selling $5 stickers. And it's like, but I do it because like, I want to be part of the community. And I want to like sign books for you guys. Like, and I care about comic books, but like, these are like the realities of, this is also the realities of like being a colorist within this industry. It's like, you just don't get attention or accolades. You just don't. But yeah, so like, it's also like an emotional roller coaster. Excellent. Excellent, Cryptid. It's like, it's an emotional roller coaster to like navigate this kind of stuff. And a lot of people just like get on the path, and they're like, they're going towards a career in comics. Do I do color commissions? I don't. And this may be why I don't necessarily make as much as I could. And the reason that I don't do color commissions is because I fucking hate it. There's like something about like, oh, you work in Photoshop, now here's some markers that I just like Like, I understand that, like, you want color commissions from me, but, like, I don't know, man. I just hate it. I just hate it. That's a good reason. Yeah. I keep trying to do them, and I'll do, like, little ones, but if it's, like, a larger piece, I'm just like, no. And the only time I ever get asked is at Heroes Con. Later, Joel. So, like, it's really, you know, that one show that, like, I have that opportunity. And I could promote it better, but I just hate it, so I don't promote it better. It's weird to me that, like, colorists are expected to do that. I mean, like, I guess I have a basic understanding of coloring and, like, how colors interact with each other, but yeah, man, it's weird to me that, like, hey, you're good at Photoshop, now use these markers on this original piece of art. I just, like, oh man, I just sweat, you know. I'll draw. I've been, like, drawing more and more. I filled, you know, a sketchbook and a half, maybe 2 sketchbooks by the time the year is over. I'm getting into it. I enjoy it. Like, I will happily draw in a sketchbook for you. Super cheap too. I'd rather do that than do, you know. So we're adding a little we're polishing it up. All the stuff that Erica couldn't ink because her pen ran out, we're throwing some shine over. We're trying to create the illusion of light. If we can kind of, like, drown this stuff out a little bit, then we can create a narrative of Kraven in the shadows with big dick energy. I feel like a lot of people showed up to the stream not seeing my Twitter post and not knowing what they were in for. Yeah. Yeah, it's that big dick energy. The other thing is I like getting into the nitty-gritty of, like, how to break into comics and what it means to just make comics, quote unquote, while we were working on a piece like this, because anybody who isn't thirsty now can't break into comics. They don't know the secrets. Only people who have the thirst have the secrets. This stream is so weird. I think we're getting close to the end. I kind of want to just, like, I don't know, bring that up a little bit. So drown that boot out a little bit. We're just kind of messing with the line art, trying to make everything work well. But you're glad you know these secrets now? Yeah. We had a little bit of color on the top there. Man, I kind of want to... There's something about, like, Kraven's face that doesn't quite sit well with me still. Like, I know it's not the focus, so maybe we should just, like, leave it be. We're kind of... All right, here's something that's you want to think about when you're making comics is, like, what's the focus? Where do we want to be? And we want to be, like, right in the crotch at all times for this. So what's happening right now is I put this, like, shine over here, and it's like drowning out the line work in the crotch. So we're going to try to scale that back just a little bit by adding a mask layer here. I don't know if that helps, Erica. That might, as a straight man, that might actually make it worse for me. So I'm trying to make the crotch the darkest thing on the page next to the lightest thing on the page. It's pretty gentleman Broncos. I don't know what these terms are. All right, we're gonna try to make it feel a little. Whoa, that is not what we want. It feels a little like he's falling into the background a little bit. Maybe this is what I wanted the whole time. So like, he's falling into the background a little bit. It's like, where do we want you? We want you here, not here. Here. I think we're getting there. I kind of want to add a little texture. And then I think we're gonna call it a day. And I think I've told you everyone exactly how to break into comics, so you all should be able to break into comics now, right? Yeah, it's business time. Yeah, it is. It is business time. Right, exactly. That's exactly the vibe I want, Cryptid. You open the door to a dark room, and Kraven is just there, waiting. It worked. You did it. Yeah, no problem. Broke you right into comics, Rico. Alright, let's add a little bit of texture. What do we got? We're gonna grab a classic, tried and true texture here and just drop it in. We're gonna put it under all the reflections and everything. There we go. I think we're done. This is overly appropriate for you to hear right now. You glad you caught the stream? Cool. I'm glad you did too. I hope that it helps you guys. Like, I think the number one thing that you can do if you're looking to break into comics is figure out what that means for you, and then based on that, execute on it. I don't think that it's like there's a big secret in it. I think that you at home can try to pencil 20 pages a month and see if you like it. If you don't, that's totally fine. You're not betraying any part of you that, like, when you were a kid, you want to draw Batman. You can still draw Batman all day. Like, that is totally fine. And you can make comics on your own terms. Like, you can, if you only have time to do a zine a year, which is like what it looks like for me if I want to continue to color, then that's what it looks like, you know? All right, I think we're done with this, but we're never really going to be done with this, if you know what I mean. Like, this is something that's going to linger. That seems very ominous. Thank you. I'm like messing with a little bit of putting a little sauce on it right now. But yeah, I think we're mostly done. It will haunt us forever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it will. It will. But it's important that it does, I guess. You're going to dream of this later. Yeah. This stream. All right. So, guys, I'm glad that you were here, guys and ladies.
I'm glad that you were here for this. Erica gave us this line art. You should all give her a follow. Her information is down there in the lower right corner. You should give her a follow. She talks about Deep Space Nine a lot, which I don't understand, but then she also talks about movies, and she's hilarious, and you should check her out. And she does artwork like this. So if you're already on board with this, you're probably already on board with her. You should pick up her Squirrel Girl. Like, it's really good. Rico colors it. He's really great. There she is in the chat. What else to say? Tomorrow we're going to look at another portfolio review. It's the last one of the year. We're going to do that at like 3 o'clock. It's by Sean Hobby, if I think it's right. It's Hobby in the Discord. We're going to take a look at it. I'm very excited to get to it because it's a very, very professional. Thank you, Erica. It's a very professional portfolio. And there's not a lot in there that actually is like quote unquote wrong. But we're going to see if we can give him some stuff to work on anyway. We're just going to we're going to take all of his effort that he's given us and just rip it apart. No, it's a very good portfolio. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a little different than the other portfolio reviews. Also, next week I'm going to talk about like what I've learned about setting goals for yourself, and if this stream helped you kind of like wrap your mind around, you know, what it takes to break into comics and where you should be, you're going to not want to miss the stream next week where we do some art and we talk about goals, because that's been on my mind a lot lately about like, you know, I think evaluating like where you want to be and what you want to make is an important thing for an artist to do. And I did that last year, and we're going to talk all about like where I ended up with those goals and what I learned, and get into stuff for my goals for next year, which is all going to affect the stream and stuff too. So you're going to want to hang out and check it out. Again, Erica, thank you. And to everyone out there, I hope that all of this hasn't discouraged you from making comics. I want you guys out there making comics, but I want you to make comics on your own terms. Whatever that means for you, keep making comics.